began with bad blood, ended with unstoppable blood.
Wow, the plasma really beginning to float.
And a TKO victory.
Peter Showstopper Queally.
Tonight, in front of the raucous fight fans of Dublin, it's the rematch. But this time, there will be new blood at the top of the lightweight division when Brazilian knockout artist Patricky Pitbull looks to capture the belt just vacated by his brother. But Ireland's own Peter Queally has his sights set on Bellator gold.
Get to your feet, the Peter Queally.
And parading it through the rolling green hills of his homeland.
I think it's going to be an absolute war, and people can't beat me in a war. And that's a fact.
It's Pitbull versus Queally for the lightweight world title.
I cut Pitbull once. I'm going to cut him again. There will be blood.
Like a serene fall night on the River Liffey in historic Dublin, Ireland. Peaceful at the Temple Bar, even outside the venerable 3 Arena. But don't let the relative calm fool you, because you are inside the cauldron now. A sold-out 3 Arena where tonight an overshadowed older brother is all that stands between this crowd celebrating a world title for one of their favorite sons. For over a decade, the trusted training partner of Conor McGregor, Ireland's only MMA world champion. Tonight, Peter Queally arrives in his adopted hometown amidst a raucous, adoring throng of his countrymen trying to become the second. But to do it, he'll have to beat this man. Patricky Pitbull has done everything there is to do in the Bellator cage, everything except win a title. Is tonight the night the big brother finally wins the big one? What a story, what a night, and what an atmosphere this is going to be here tonight. An extraordinary backdrop. It is great to see, especially tonight. This is going to be awesome. I'm Sean Grandi. It is the older brother's job to sacrifice. And the story of the Pitbull brothers, it's well known, except for this one part, because 10 years ago, when they both came to Bellator, Patricky, the older brother, 2 inches taller, decided, you know what, I'll go to lightweight and I'll leave featherweight for my brother to dominate. And did he ever, to the tune of 3 world titles. Well, last month, it all came full circle when Patricio gave up the 155 world title, knowing that his brother, the #1 contender, was next in line and would have a chance to win it tonight. It was a story everybody was excited about, with Peter Queally, Ireland's favorite son, against Patricky Pitbull, always the bridesmaid. There may have been some other guys on this list not too happy about it, but history is going to be made in this building tonight. And whenever we're talking about history, well, we turn to John McCarthy. And you know what? A lot of guys could have fought for this lightweight world championship tonight. Have no illusions that Peter Queally and Patricky Pitbull deserve this night tonight.
Oh, they deserve this night. Check out this crowd right here. This tells you everything.
You know what they are? They're so good. So good. So good.
Look, these guys know each other. They've been in there with each other, and they know what they needed to do to change the little things that they think are going to make the difference in this fight. Peter Queally is not the powerful puncher that Pitbull is. Pitbull's got power. He can end the fight with 1 shot. Peter Queally's really not that guy, but he is the guy that can take his opponent and drag him into deep waters. He uses cardio as a tool. He pushes you to the cliff and then pushes you over it where you cannot compete with him, and he gets the win. He's tenacious. He's durable. He's never been stopped. Pitbull knows that I need to be selective in my shots. I need to be selective when I'm going to unleash that power, because it's got to be precise.
Not only a world title fight, it's a rematch from 6 months ago with a fight that was stopped because of the blood on Patricky Pitbull. Well, there will be bad blood tonight in the co-main event, a huge one at bantamweight. For more on that, more words than those two guys will have for each other, Gallagher and Patchy mix. We join Aiden Power, thrilled to be back in his hometown and alongside Josh Thompson.
Thank you very much indeed, Sean. There is no bad blood between us, but I would like to introduce Josh tonight as a man who's been embracing the Irish culture all week as Josh O'Thompson, if we can change his name for one night only. How are you, Josh?
Tom May Gama.
That's
what I was told to say, and I guess apparently it means I'm doing good.
It means you're good. He was worried it meant something else. It does not. Why would you not be good? We have a main event. It's a historic night here in Dublin. Is there any way our main event is going to be anything but an absolute all-out war?
I think it's going to be an all-out war, like you just said, and Big John touched on it very, very well. He said, look, we're going to see a continuation of what we saw in the first fight, but I think we're going to see a lot more tenacity from both fighters because now they know each other. They know what to expect, and that's what I'm looking forward to tonight.
In our co-main event, there is a lot at stake, including bragging rights and a whole lot more, as James the Strabanimal Gallagher returns to fight in front of his home fans for the first time in 2 years. We know what the Jimmy Show is like, but we also know, Josh, once that cage door closes, he's all business, isn't he?
Yeah, he's all business. What I like, though, is that it's all the lack of outside stuff that he does. He brings a lot to the table, the excitement. They call it the Jimmy Show for a reason. But he brings the full package from the grappling to the striking, everything. Look, there's been a lot of talk in terms of what he does and what he doesn't do inside and outside the cage. But I can tell you right now, he's one of the most well-rounded fighters that we have on our roster. You can say what you want because of the personality and attitude, but I love that he brings it into the cage. He brings it every single time. And what I most likely love about him the most, he tries for the finish.
Okay, well, he's going to have to bring it tonight because he is against the number 3 ranked bantamweight in Patchy. No love mix, or as Josh likes to call him, the human backpack. You christened him that, and for good reason. The
reason why I christened him that, because he finds his way to the back at every moment, every step of the fight. So every time, every opportunity he gets, he tries to get there. And when he gets there, he'll attack from all different positions. He'll try to get into the Zuluev stretch, which you saw in the first highlight. When he gets to the back, he goes obviously right to the rear naked. If he starts to lose the back, he'll slide off to the side choke. He can hit submissions from anywhere from the back, and he's aggressive with his attacks. Like I said, he's a lot like Jimmy when it comes to how they are so aggressive with their submissions from the back, and they both find ways there. It's going to be a great fight. I cannot wait. I can barely hear myself talk right now.
All right, I'll take over. So let's show you the rest of the card that we have. 4-fight card here in Dublin, Ireland for you tonight. And there's a lot at stake for 2 former title contenders in Daniel Weichel and Pedro Carvalho, who collide at 145. The number 6 ranked Weichel will make the walk for the 54th time in his professional career, and he's here to prove he's still a contender and not an opponent. And we kick off our main card right now with another matchup in the featherweight division as 2 hot prospects get us underway. So let's do it. Sean.
All right, Aiden, in a long-standing truism in combat sports, one man's opportunity is another's golden ticket. That's never been more true than here, as a world-class kickboxer who's accustomed to the big stage welcomes a true Cinderella to the same.
And now we welcome to the cage, George Sasu.
And here's the irony. This was Fabian Edwards' slot. As you know, his brother Leon's been called Rocky for years, but Rocky was a one-time prospect whose life had turned him on a different path. His big break comes when someone else can't fight. Now, with injuries and paperwork finally knocked Rocky's brother out of the slot, enter George Sasu, an undefeated rising prospect 5 years ago. Real life, injuries derailed his dream, and now he's back, and after a sequence of circumstances you couldn't have invented, he is suddenly opening the main card of one of the biggest events of the year. That is a Rocky story.
That is a Rocky story, and I'm telling you right now, this individual is fun to watch fight. He's got hand speed. He loves the flying knee. He loves to have some flashy attacks. He will do crazy things at times in the fight. Sometimes that gets him out of position, but he's also a guy who has learned the ground. He will take the fight to the ground, and he believes that he can take this fight to the ground at any time against Ilias Bulaid.
Romanian-born, fighting out of Paris after 3 years away. George Sasu is back, and what a spot.
And now we welcome his opponent, Ilias, the Blade, Bulaid.
There are places in the world where kickboxing still remains king, but the world is a big place, and Ilias Bulaid wanted to explore it. John, this is a fascinating sociological experiment because John Kavanaugh and SBG, they've turned fighters into world-class strikers. What happens when they get a hold of a 26-year-old who's already a world-class striker?
Man, I'm telling you, the first time that I watched Ilias Bulaid fight, I was in awe. I was sitting there, Sean, with my mouth open like, oh my God. His hand speed is incredible. The angles that he takes, and we always talk all the time about combinations and throwing not a single, not a double, but 3, 4, and 5. That's what hurts. This is the guy that does it.
Check out the tail of the tape in the opener.
Our tail of the tape for this match up in the featherweight division. I gotta go. Both guys are young as far as their records, but age also. Sasu, for a guy not fighting for 3 years at a time, 25 years of age, 26 years of Bulaid. Both are the future.
A night with a storybook ending and a new lightweight world champion begins, as always, with Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome tonight from 3 Arena here in Dublin, Ireland. Bellator 270 live on Showtime begins now with 3 5-minute rounds in the featherweight division. Introducing first the blue corner at 5'8", weighing in 144.6 pounds, making his Bellator debut. He enters with 5 professional victories, 1 defeat from Paris, France, Sasu. And across the cage, his adversary out of the red corner at 5'10", weighing in 145.8 pounds. As a professional, he's undefeated early on at 2-0, fighting out of Qassar, El Kabir, Morocco, by way of Rotterdam, Netherlands, Ilias the Blade Bulaid. And when the bell rings, the referee in charge, John English.
Red, you good? Blue, you good? Round 1, boys. First thing you should notice is the speed of Bulaid. How quickly the strikes come. "31 kickboxing fights for his 25th birthday.
Beautiful body shot by Bulaid. Driving Sasu back towards the cage. This is where he's going to have to show that he has learned something in his time off during the pandemic. He hasn't been able to fight, but he said he was going to work on his ground game. Let's see if his wrestling and his groundwork has improved.
Both of his Bellator fights have been here in the friendly confines of Dublin. It's been a big night already for SBG. Hoping it ends with a world title.
As good as Sasu is on his feet, he thought that he had a big advantage against Bulaid on the ground, and that's where he was going to try to take this fight. You can see he was not lying. Clean right hand by Bulaid.
Come in so quick
and
so
the angle that he throws it at.
That's it.
Look at the footwork. Very clean. Keeps his feet at the same distance as he slides himself in. Extends out to close that range. Bulaid on his feet is just technically proficient. Beautiful to watch.
Solid leg kick, put that one in the bank. Sasu spent 3 years away from the sport. Issues in his personal life, issues with his job. What spot to make all the work pay off.
That's a clean low calf kick right there. Sasu being very calm, very relaxed, not worrying about anything. He's been changing that position, but you can already see the damage. Take a look at the back of his right thigh on the hamstring area. There's a huge bruising already from the kicks of Bulaid.
He's also taking a couple of good body shots.
Oh, he's taking several good body shots, and that will make a difference in this fight. If Bulaid's able to continue that body attack, the hands are going to have to drop down. They're already down a little bit already.
We've seen world-class kickboxers make the transition to MMA with various degrees of success. We just saw Denise Keelholtz fight for the world title in July.
Well, it's really changed because when they came into MMA, they were basically trying to fight the stand-up like it was kickboxing, which it's not. It is completely different, and they've all learned that. Now you're seeing the kickboxers are starting to have a lot of success. They're changing what they're going to do in their attack while they're in the stand-up, and they've learned to defend the takedown. A nice right hand.
Sasu a little tentative here because you can't replicate the speed.
Yeah, speed kills. It's so hard to understand when someone can just all of a sudden explode the way that Bulaid can and move and cover the distance. You think you're safe from being hit, and he's covered that distance, and he has thrown 2 shots before you realize that he's there.
Decent leg kick by Sasu. He's going to need a bunch of those to slow down Bulaid.
Sasu getting deep on that. And this will be a telling moment right now because he lost in that first attempt at the takedown. Now he got deep on the leg and he still wasn't able to get it. So if Bulaid's able to fight through this right now, in the back of Sasu's mind, he's going to be saying, man, I can't get him down, and things are going to start to change, and he's going to have to start playing more of the stand-up game with a guy that you just don't want to be in the stand-up game with.
His takedown attempts don't figure to get better. The more damage he takes on those legs, it's going to slow him down, which will slow down the takedown attempts. Game first round for Sasu, but boy, speed was everywhere for Bulaid.
Take a look at the low kick. That's the one we're talking. You can see the damage that kick did to the back of Sasu's. Look how fast that spin was. He had hardly any time to react. Look at where his hands are looking high. It comes right under the arm, a little bit off target. But the speed in which he throws those techniques makes it very difficult to defend. And George Sasu is not a slow fighter in any way, shape, or form.
Trains with Gregory Babin, undefeated, young fighter. Check Congo's place. I'm sure one day Czech will stop fighting.
Back up, come on, back up.
I don't know when, but it'll be like Manny Minoso, one of those guys, and just Gordie Howe.
Good. You good? Round 2.
Sasu knows what he wants to do. He knows where he needs this fight, but can he get it there?
Somewhere within this round, I think you're going to see Bulaid come in for the same attack that he's been going to the body with. But the hand's going to come instead to the body. It's going to come over the top because Sasu is really starting to drop his hands every time Bulaid comes in with that body attack. Nice clean left hand inside. Sasu getting good. Got double unders, drives him to the cage. Still in that position. God, we're 50-50 now.
Now we'll see what Bulaid has learned about these positions along the fence.
Notice how Bulaid's keeping that right arm up high on his underhook and helped him get out of the position.
He got out. He's got a couple of good body shots on the exit.
Yeah, those are hurting.
Yep.
Those body shots are starting to take effect.
Yeah, he's hit about 7 or 8 of those. Level change, and again, the damage he's taken finally does get him to the ground.
Sasu finally gets him to the ground. We'll see what he can do here, because at least now he's not going to be getting any type of damage with those body shots, and he can do some damage of his own, but he needs to keep Bulaid on his back. Bulaid getting back to his feet. Sasu using a heavy hip ride, but that's not going to keep Bulaid down. Strong enough to get himself back up. Sasu trying to drag him out towards the center. Not a bad idea. His hands are clasped around. He should be able to pick him up. Hands are no longer clasped around his hips. Bulaid has been able to defend that takedown once again. That did hit the ground, but right away he was getting himself back to his feet. It looks like he's working his way out.
It's got to be a little demoralizing.
Just attack that leg again. That right leg is not looking pretty in the back.
You can see how Sasu is slowed down.
It's great because one will switch from orthodox to southpaw. The other one just makes the same switch, puts him back in the same position. Oh, nice hook to the body.
These body shots have to be paying huge dividends. You saw Sasu just let out a gasp. Still coming forward, but man, he's taking a lot of damage.
And the difference that you can see Sasu is head hunting, while Bulaid is really just going to the body and saying, I'm just going to wear you out to the point where your shots don't have the power, and eventually I'll decide when I want to bring the shots up high and hit you to the head.
You know, we are so accustomed to seeing and falling in love with YouTube clips and Sports Center knockouts. This is a brutal fight.
Oh.
These are the ones, you know, you take a flash knockout and it's spectacular, but the amount of damage Sasu has taken here.
Yeah, to the body.
Yeah.
You know, all of it really to the body. He's taken a couple shots up high, and he's delivered some shots, but it's the body attack that Bulaid has brought. It has been vicious, and it has been effective. He has landed some heavy shots.
Sasu's legs, he's got nothing behind these shots.
And that's because of what has happened. The leg kick is taking away that. Normally he's in an orthodox position, and that back leg he's pushing off of just doesn't have the same response in pushing. And all those body shots, it just takes and punches a hole in your gas tank.
You fight once in 5 years, and then you walk into this.
There's no doubt he's in shape.
Oh, absolutely.
He has pushed in this fight. He's gone after it. He's taken some big shots, and he's still in it. But he's only been able to get Bulaid to the ground the one time, and wasn't able to keep him there. And you can tell that's been his game plan, was to get the fight down.
Remember, Bulaid's still an infant at MMA. This is his 3rd pro fight. Elite kickboxing, the elite striking. He has laid some heavy shots in here for 2 rounds. Watch your fingers, all right? You're getting close. Oh, you feel those tomorrow. Feel them right now, but man.
Oh, beautiful right hand to the body, then comes back with the left hook. It only takes one shot where that liver starts to spasm, and it is all over. There is nothing you can do. You can't keep yourself up. Automatically, your body just starts to give out. Your legs give out, end up on the ground.
Red, you good? Blue, you good? Last round, boys.
Third round with Sasu in need of something big.
Clean left hand straight down the pipe by Sasu.
He had a leg kick for his troubles.
Fingers, Red.
Stay patient. He's not gone for anything crazy. Just the takedown Sasu needed. Now can he do work from here? He gets it early in the round.
Nice job of passing the half guard. Bulaid just let him do that, which tells you Bulaid's starting to get a little gassed himself.
Yeah.
Sasu doing a nice job trying to push his leg through, get himself either to a side control or a mount position.
Get the right leg free. See, Bulaid has it tied up pretty good right now. So what Sasu is trying to do is use his left leg to push off.
There you see Bulaid get that elevator hook inside. It's going to keep the hips of Sasu back at least enough where he can keep that frame out. But he needs to definitely think about, hey, I got to explode. I got to put feet on hips and start to push him off and get myself with my back against the cage and get back to my feet. Sasu doing good work right now.
Yeah, Bulaid has to be careful not to give up his back in the scramble here to try to get up too fast. He's up.
Heavy elbow by Bulaid. See, right here, just in this grappling, look at the head positioning. Bulaid is taking and keeping his head where it should be George being able to, Sasu should be able to keep his head in position to affect Bulaid in a bad way. Now he's finally got his head in the position, driving forward. He needs to keep driving. Sasu with the double underhooks. Bulaid trying to get him off and cannot based upon that hand position.
I wonder if he would have been able to early in the first round before taking all that damage.
Yeah, well,
a lot harder now.
And this is where Bulaid needs to dig that, get that underhook in there. You got to pummel inside.
He's out. Shoots, reaching for that trip.
Well, at least all of this grappling has taken all those body shots and the leg kicks that he was eating before. They have been quelled, so he's doing a very good job of at least keeping himself in a position where he's safe, and he's looking for that takedown. He's gotten the one. He wasn't able to do a lot of damage with it, but he keeps on working the positions. Bulaid had a Kimura grip. Kind of lost it, and he needs to think about what he's doing by holding on to it because Sasu's in a position to take his back.
Sasu trying to sneak that right arm in there. He is running out of time. 15 minutes, you saw the things that make Ilias Bulaid one of the top prospects, like that sizzling hand speed. And you saw some of the holes in the game that he's going to have to work on the ground and along the fence. Good third round for George Sasu. That's a life victory for that young man. Just getting back in the cage after everything he's been through.
Beautiful spinning kick. Look at the body shot here. That's a beautiful shot to the liver, and then slides right back out on the counter and comes back to the liver. Bulaid does some beautiful work to the body. Big elbow up top. He landed a big elbow in the third round right against the cage right there. That's a big shot. Sasu comes back, lands a shot to the body, but overall, good, clean fight by both fighters. The one that was able to keep the fight in their range the most was Bulaid, and he ends up, in my opinion, winning the fight 2 rounds to 1.
For those of you who are not with us through the prelims, we had some very long waits for decisions, as we have now. We had them in fights that we thought were complicated to judge. We had 2 fights in the prelims in which 3 judges all had completely different scorecards. This was one that we thought was pretty straightforward with the first 2 rounds to Bulaid and the third round to Sasu, but it's taken a little while to do the math.
How hard is it to get to 30 or 29 or 28 or 27? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's reason right there. I think we need some third graders here to.
Yeah, but you know, I gotta say, that's not the judges. That's the table.
Well, whatever the math is, Michael C. Williams has it.
Ladies and gentlemen, having gone the distance, we'll go now to your 3 judges at cage side. Your first judge, Ben Cartledge, scores the fight 29-28. He sees the fight for Bulaid. Your second judge at cage side, Ron McCarthy, scores the fight 29-28. He sees the fight for Sasu. Your third and final judge at cage side, Chris Lee, scores the fight 30-27 for the winner by split decision, Ilias, the Blade.
Never know. We thought it would be 329-28 instead.
You would have thought.
Math works out the same, and Ilias Bulaid goes to 3-0. Guys, we got a fascinating night ahead, and as this first fight indicated, you never know what's going to happen in the Bellator cage.
Indeed you don't. Sean, what you make of that, Josh?
I thought the fight was closer than I thought it warranted a split decision. I thought it was a good fight. Ilias Bulaid looked a little rusty from his last time he fought, which was the 2020 of February, right before the shutdown, the COVID shutdown. He has improved, though, in terms of his takedown defense, his hands, and putting everything together after the grappling. He's a little bit more work, but like I said, he's 3-0.
Okay, we have another high-level featherweight match on the way, but we have so much more great Bellator action coming your way before we wrap up 2021, because this day next week, the queen of MMA, Cris Cyborg, returns to defend her featherweight strap against Irish boxing sensation Sinead KO Kavanagh. That's coming your way next Friday, November 12th at 10 p.m. Eastern, only on Showtime. And then Friday, December 3rd, champions collide. The 135-pound king, Sergio Pettis, goes toe-to-toe with a man who's familiar with that belt, the former Bellator bantamweight title holder and current rising champion, Kyoji Horiguchi. Lots to look forward to. And of course, plenty more to come here in Dublin tonight. Let's talk about our next matchup. 2 top 10 ranked featherweights in Pedro Carvalho and Daniel Weichel. A lot at stake for both guys tonight. We'll start with Pedro. He's looking to snap this 2-fight losing streak. If he's to get back to where he needs to get to, Josh, he spoke a lot about evolution, changing. Does he actually need to go back to be that guy who won his first 4 fights in Bellator?
No, what he needed to do was just check his ego, and he admitted that to himself. His head got really big when he started realizing he was getting the title shot. Then he thought he was going to just walk through other guys. But what he needs to do is go back to what he did against Sam Cecilia. He was touching him with the hands, not throwing too hard, using his body kicks, using his grappling, making all the transitions that he needed. He was pushing Sam Cecilia to the point where Sam Cecilia's gassed out, was making mistakes, ran right into a horrible takedown. And then Pedro was able to get to the back and finish him. When he fought Campos, he put the body kicks on him, and he had Campos reeling backwards, didn't know what to do. And if he can do that tonight to Daniel Weichel, he may have a really good chance of getting that win, because that will keep Daniel Weichel's elbows in, and he won't be able to throw from there. Those body kicks to the hands, then to the takedowns, the ground and pound, he's got great top position and control. That's all he's got to do is go back to what he was doing, and he can be successful again.
What a name to have on your resume in Daniel Weichel. We'll talk more about him in a moment, but let's hear now from the SBG fighter who gets to fight for the first time in front of his adopted fans.
Pedro, not long now before you're out there. This is your adopted hometown, isn't it? How are you feeling ahead of tonight?
Man, it's special. It's like the perfect, and everything is getting together to get one of the special nights of my career, you know. I've been dreaming with this day of being here on the Tree Arena in front of the Irish crowd for 5 years since I set foot in this country, you know, 20-year-old boy pursuing a dream, and now here I am, you know. And this is by far the biggest and best, you know, fight will be in my career.
How much are you going to take in that crowd, you know, for you to be able to go out there and do what you need to do?
I will take everything. I will just, but most importantly, I will enjoy the moment, you know, because I've been dreaming for so long to be here, you know, and perform in front of this crowd, that the most important thing for me is enjoying the moment, enjoy the fight, and get to win.
And that win, what are you going to have to do to get that win?
Work my ass off, you know. Daniel is a great fighter. I respect him a lot, but I think I have all the tools to beat him. I'm a completely new fighter, and that's exactly what I'm going to show tonight.
We look forward to it.
Thank you.
All right, thanks to Jeanette. Well, he certainly sounds dialed in, and he's going to need to be, because he is up against a 20-year fight veteran in the one and only Daniel Weichel, a two-time challenger as well. And if I can quote my learned friends, one of, if not the best technicians in all of mixed martial arts. That's high praise coming from you, Josh.
Yeah, he keeps very tight with his defense. He's very calm, and he's relaxed when he's out there. He lets the fight develop in front of him. And when you're there fighting, when he fought Saul Rogers was trying to get the takedown, was pushing the pace real hard on him. He stayed composed. He just picked Saul Rogers apart, was touching him with combinations, and Saul got to the point where he exhausted himself trying to get to the takedown, trying to throw the hands, wasn't able to land anything. And in their first fight against, when he fought Patricio the first time, he was seconds away from capturing that title. He had rocked Patricio, dropped him, had really put some work on him. He just, the time ran out, he wasn't able to do it, and then he came out in the second round carelessly because he got ahead of himself. Since then, he, like I said, is a technician. He's someone that stays committed to his defense, but throws everything right from his face. He's a brilliant fighter. Pedro's got his hands full tonight with Daniel Weichel.
Indeed he does. As Daniel told us this week, he's kind of fed up of going to the judges' scorecard. 6 of his last outings have done just that. How may that translate into his game plan tonight?
A win's a win. I don't care what it is. Winning solves everything.
All right, it is time for more Fistic Fireworks at 145.
All right, guys, and here's the thing, and you kind of indicated it. When you challenge for the world title and falling short, the slope you're on is slippery because the line behind you is getting crowded and fights quickly become must win. AJ McKee rules the 145 world right now. Matt Brunell, Adam Borch, Patricio Pitbull, all in the on-deck circle, which makes this, like I said, must win.
And now set to make his way to the cage, Pedro, the game, Carvalho.
And as you just heard from that young man, everything was falling into place for Pedro Carvalho. A life-changing move from Portugal to here in Dublin to join SBG. Led to a winning streak, both personally and professionally. But a mistake against Patricio Pitbull in his title fight led to a loss, compounded by coming back too soon against J.J. Wilson. And he sat in his room after that fight, and what he told us was the worst night of his life. It was then he met the one person in the world that changed everything for him instantly, his new daughter, Carlina. You have called, John, his fights. You have watched the personality go up and down on the roller coaster that many young fighters who are fighting at the top level go through. He is in with his family now. He is in a happy, peaceful place, and he sounds more like the Pedro Carvalho of a couple years ago.
Oh, he absolutely does. It's so hard to understand, but he's still very young. He doesn't look real young, but he is real young as far as he is a guy that is good everywhere in this sport. But that rise, how fast that rise happened, I think it started to get to his head a little bit. He was so confident, it was crazy. You just don't see guys with the confidence that he had, and then he loses, and the confidence starts to wane, and he did come back too fast. You're absolutely right, but I think we have a new Pedro Carvalho here tonight, and I cannot wait to watch him work.
And now, to make his way, Daniel Weichel.
Well, whether or not you're a fan of the Lord of the Rings movies, you undoubtedly know the one line that's become part of the zeitgeist, right? When Gandalf, the great wizard, stands before the Balrog and says, "You shall not pass." Even if, like a lot of lines, he actually doesn't say that. But the point is, he is the gatekeeper. Daniel Weichel is one of the winningest fighters in major MMA history. A two-time world title challenger, but 3 weeks from his 37th birthday, 6 months from his 20-year anniversary as a pro, he has found a new role as the two-time world title challenger. John is really now the gatekeeper of this featherweight division. If you want to get back to the top, you've got to beat that man.
Well, you have to beat him, but he doesn't want to be the gatekeeper. Yeah. He wants to be the guy that gets a third chance at putting that gold around his waist. And look, he has the skill to do that. And like Josh Thompson said, he is technically good everywhere. This is a guy, if you want to sit back, get some popcorn, and get in a chair and watch a technician, Daniel Weichel is the guy you want to watch.
Not too many guys you're going to see in the 40s in the win column.
Our tail of tape for this featherweight matchup, 36 years of age. That's what Sean's been talking about, how long Daniel Weichel's been doing this against the 26-year young Pedro Carvalho.
Bellator MMA live on Showtime now features 3 5-minute rounds in the featherweight division. Introducing first, the blue corner. At 5'11", weighing in 145.8 pounds, the recent world title challenger holds a professional record of 11 victories, 5 defeats from Gallagher, Portugal. He fights out of Dublin, Ireland, presenting Pedro Carvalho. And across the cage, his adversary out of the red corner at 5'10", weighing in 145.6 pounds. He's a two-time world title challenger, bringing a veteran professional record that includes 41 wins, 12 losses, fighting out of Frankfurt, Germany, Daniel Weichel. In charge, your referee, Kevin McDonald.
Behind the line, please. Back behind, back behind. Ready to fight? Let's go!
If this is the first time you've seen Daniel Weichel fight and you're wondering about the nickname, yes, it's because of the resemblance to the rapper Drake. He's promised us more explosiveness, but we saw it's a part of Bellator history, John, and you were 6 inches from it. It almost feels like the one time in his professional life he got careless, and it cost him the championship.
You know, he was so close to beating Pitbull on that night. He had Pitbull hurt. It was the end of the round. He thought he actually thought I stopped the fight, but no, it wasn't. And he came out and he tried to put him away and made the mistake.
That's important you said that. For people who just saw that video, you couldn't hear the bell. Yeah. So it looked like visually a stoppage, and immediately.
Look at that. Daniel Weichel taking the back beautifully.
Oh, he is so slick.
Carvalho in trouble right now.
Very early in the round, no sweat on the fighters.
And that is exactly what you're talking about. There is no sweat right here. When your arm gets caught like it is right now, he's unable to defend. He got his arm free. But when you have that stickiness right now, you can't just slide things out and get free. Pedro needs to just take his time. He keeps on reaching for the leg, and he needs to stop doing that at this moment. Protect your neck, start to drive his weight up, get high on Weichel.
Remember, Carvalho hadn't been stopped in 7 years, and now has been stopped in back-to-back fights.
Weichel got his black belt jiu-jitsu from Dean Thomas, who was a head coach at ATT forever, a fantastic fighter and an even better coach.
Daniel Weichel got a big surprise after his last fight with Queally Diggs at Mohegan Sun. His wife Lisa had a little surprise for him when the fight was over. She said, guess what? You're going to be a dad again. Didn't want to tell him during training. I asked him, he said he was glad she kept the secret.
Carvalho keeps on bringing that left kick, which he likes to use so much. He'll bring it to the body, he'll bring it up high, and he needs to do that with Weichel. He needs to keep Weichel aware of, hey, I'm gonna hit you with this, so you cannot just step in on me. I'm gonna keep on kicking you to the body. You're gonna have to defend, and I'm gonna force you in the direction that I want you to go.
Carvalho, talk about a leap of faith. Moved from his native Portugal. As he says, could have been anywhere in the world. He chose here. Essentially knocked on the door in SPG.
There was a clean right hand landed by Weichel, but Carvalho has landed two right hands and a clean left. He's touching Weichel. He needs to be sure to keep that head. He keeps on keeping it on the center line.
Big shot. That's what happens when you don't. Certainly has been, as promised, a little less conservative Daniel Weichel in round one.
Well, that's because Carvalho's been pushing him and giving him opportunities also. And just like I was saying, you could see that Carvalho keeps his head on the center line. It is a mistake. You cannot continually do that. A guy is going to read that and be able to counter you and hit you, and that's what happened here.
Daniel Weichel has 22 career victories by submission, hunting for it.
Nice reversal by Pedro Carvalho.
These fans know their stuff or what? That has to be another part of the evolution you have witnessed, is the fans understanding what's happening.
Oh, it's been remarkable because in the beginning, as soon as the fight hit the ground, they were like, stand it up. And it was like, you know, this guy's going to end this fight in about 10 seconds, just so you know. But the education of the crowd is amazing of what they know, they understand. Big shot.
Yeah, Weichel relaxed for a second. Now he's taking an elbow and a shoulder strike. Small cut, you can see.
Both guys have had their moments in this round. Weichel's had the bigger moments. Pedro's been in more trouble at times. Interesting round.
Stop! Lead rate.
A lot of those tonight.
Here comes a knockdown right there. Quick right hand hits the temple. Carvalho hits his butt. Watch that right hand. Boom, right on the temple. Kind of stuns him, a little bit off balance. You can see his eyes coming back towards Weichel. So he has not been, you know, the wires have not been separated. He's still there. And then right at the end, beautiful job. Controls the arms, brings the elbow. Nice shoulders. Both guys having their moments. I have to say that I think Weichel got the best of that round, though.
This place is going to go bananas.
Seconds out.
And James Gallagher walks, and eventually Peter Queally fighting for the world title. The videos of some of the walkouts in this building have already gone viral, but the stakes have never been higher than they will be tonight.
Round two.
One of the things we really need to look for in this round shot is the head movement of Carvalho. When he throws, he's got to take his head, bring it off center, either to the left or right, depending upon what he's throwing. But if he continues to keep it in the center line, Weichel is technically proficient. He's going to take advantage of it, and he's going to hurt it. that landed flush. That hurt Weichel. Oh, and again.
Weichel answers with a big right. Carvalho down, trying to stay safe. Hanging on until he clears the cobwebs. So Weichel's landed some big shots here in the first half of this fight. Weichel has never been a knockout fighter. This is always where he's done his work. He's right here. Got the hooks in.
Nice job of getting the back again. Pedro is very proficient on the ground. He's comfortable here. So this is not terrible for him, but when you get that arm trap a la BJ Penn, you could be in trouble. And you can see Weichel is starting to look towards the arm bar. Nice job of giving up on that. Was not going to be there. It goes right back to controlling the back. Nice job by Pedro. You see him taking that foot on the outside.
In the evolution that we always talked about, submission defense has to be very high on that list.
Oh my God! I mean, before, you know, guys had no idea how to stop certain things, or would actually lead towards giving, you know, the arm bar by trying to stand up and things like that. They're so much smarter, so much better now. The game's just evolved.
Two fighters coming up next in their mid-20s, and James Gallagher and Patchy mix. Started so young, such ridiculous skills at their age. Trying that left knee.
So you can still see Pedro is, although he's okay, his balance is not back to what it was. And that's because of the shots that he's taken. Nice left hand that he landed right there. He needs to move that head.
This is the least careful Daniel Weichel I think I have seen in a long time.
And that's because he's being forced.
Yes.
You know, there's a pressure coming towards him. And we talked to Carvalho about, look, you were starting to bring so much pressure. It was too much, and it was leading you into trouble. And he goes, yeah, I'm going to stop that. That has not happened. He keeps doing it.
I find there's often a significant difference between a fighter in fighter interviews and what actually happens when the fight starts.
Carvalho's got this if he can swing that leg out. Weichel being able to defend well. Being very effective when he grabs around the head. You see him grabbing towards the ear. Oh, that was a big one. Weichel's got a problem right now. He is stunned. See, this is where Pedro needs to be smart. Step off, bring your head off in the center, throw that left hook again. Excuse me, it'd be a straight overhand left. Now what would be the left hook?
There it is.
Landing that left. He is southpaw orthodox. He is tagging.
Carvalho has turned this fight around here late in the second round, landing some big shots.
Well, he's got it. He's on his heels. It's a lot of volume coming his way. Weichel needs to turn this around, get a hold of him, slow it down.
Which is exactly what he does. And you can see the toll that these 10 minutes have taken on both guys. Clubbing left by Carvalho. He has really put Weichel on the defensive here in the last 2 minutes.
He's tired.
But he's made it to the end of round 2.
Take a look right here. Nice left hand by Carvalho. Watch where see how he just keeps his head on the center line. You saw that little kick, and instead of just bringing his head off to the center line, he left it. That's why he got tagged. Same thing with Weichel here. Weichel comes with the knee. Nice job, Carvalho. Beautiful left, right. Goes after him here, and he lit him up. That was a beautiful left hand. At least watch his head now. He's at least starting to bring it off to the off that center line, bringing it either left or right.
So John Kavanaugh, he welcomed a 15-year-old prodigy to SBG, James Gallagher, 10 years ago. James Gallagher and Patchy mix coming up next. A much anticipated, twice postponed bantamweight showdown. The two guys with their eyes on the title. Really interesting conversation with James Gallagher the other day.
Yeah, you know, he's fun because he's got such an attitude about just being great, and he wants to be great. He knows he's got to work his butt off to get there. The question is, can he get there? Nice uppercut by Carvalho.
Leg kick connects. Combination from Carvalho. Well, he has touched Weichel every possible way. Now Weichel changes levels to try to change where this fight is happening.
Yeah, the crowd is booing, and it was a brilliant move by Daniel Weichel to take him off his feet at that moment. He was starting to get touched.
Weichel is a savant and advancing position from here. He's taking a lot of damage where Carvalho gives his back.
He does because he keeps on getting out. He's able to remove that leg, but there goes Weichel. I was going to say, when you pick that up, you're setting yourself up for a body triangle. You need to be careful.
While you try to turn out of it.
Weichel doesn't have anything here. Even though he's got the arm, he doesn't have anything with it.
Now, throughout the night, we've seen a ton of guys do damage from the bottom. Weichel isn't here.
Now, especially with where he's putting his hands, trying to hold on. Right now, he's trying to keep from being damaged. You can see the overhooks. You know, some guys, you know, in the fight game, some guys are Ferraris, some guys are Corvettes, some guys are tractors. Doesn't matter about their weight. Pedro Carvalho is a tractor. He just keeps coming forward, and you can't stop it at times. You think you get a position on him, and all of a sudden he's turning the corner, and he just starts running forward, and he's just grinding you up.
This is minute 13 of a fight in which both guys have taken big shots that would have ended fights against other competition. Exactly what Carvalho needed.
He does need to. Right now, you see Weichel putting feet on hips. Smart move. Trying to tilt. Beautiful tilt to get him off. Wasn't able to hold the position, but it was a beautiful job of getting back to his feet by Daniel Weichel.
On the feet, it was advantage Weichel in round one, but heavy shots landed with that left from Carvalho in round two.
Daniel's starting to reach a lot. That takes a lot of gas out of you. That's a beautiful kick right to the solar plex. When you're breathing hard, that happens.
Weichel, the level change, you see, he just doesn't have the drive behind that takedown attempt that he had early.
He's tired. Only a minute 15 left in the round, but both guys pushing hard.
Two of the best at 145, and they have put on a show here through 14 minutes. For all the technical proficiency, this was a street fight.
Yeah, both guys have had their moments, Sean. They've landed big shots. They have hurt each other, but they've always come back with it. You got to be impressed with it. Right now, Pedro needs to be careful. He's got the takedown. He's got to be careful of his neck.
This is the toughest round to call, and this is the round that's going to decide it. We think. Ooh, so you want to be an MMA judge?
No one said it's easy.
This was great stuff. Old line in the featherweight division. Weichel takes a late shot. They're going to go all the way to the bell. An instant classic between Daniel Weichel and Pedro Carvalho. A fight worthy of the stage tonight in Dublin. Tomorrow night, in a Showtime pay-per-view, 2 world champions in boxing will enter the ring. By the time the night is over, only one will leave as undisputed champion.
I worked to become, one of the greatest of all time. I made sure to go out and make it happen. To have my name in the history books forever, that's why I'm here.
Is there anything that scares you, Canelo Alvarez?
Nothing about boxing. I always ready for a fight.
There is a calmness to the confidence in these two men. At least that is, until they're in each other's presence. Only then does belief become anger, and deeply held pride erupts.
He's got somebody in front of him who he knows is not scared of him. For some reason, I think it strokes his ego the wrong way.
En el boxeo hay niveles. Nunca he peleado con alguien como yo y eso lo vamos a ver el 6 de noviembre.
There's no words that are going to convince people. You don't convince people through your words. You convince people through your actions.
Cada quien hizo su historia, ¿no? Y al final de cuentas, pues vamos a hacer historia.
At the intersection of 2 stories are 2 champions who overcame insurmountable odds. Now comes the inevitable, a head-on collision with historic stakes. After all, on November 6th, only one can claim the title, undisputed super middleweight champion.
Pay-per-view, get an up-close and personal look at the rivalry between Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Plant. All access, Canelo versus Plant, available now on Showtime. The final word in this fight is available now, and Michael C. Williams has it.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 non-stop rounds of action, we'll go to your judges' scorecards, where all 3 judges, Chris Lee, Ron McCarthy, Ben Cartledge, all seed exactly the same, 29-28, for the winner by unanimous decision, Pedro the Carvalho.
The emotion and the sacrifice for Pedro Carvalho to start his climb back up the mountain, and he couldn't have had a tougher test to pass. Guys, that was extraordinary.
That was what fighting is about. It's those moments that things aren't going your way and you give everything you have. You don't stop. You don't quit. Amazing.
Guys, that was an amazing 15 minutes to watch.
I call it a classic rock and sock back and forth. What would you call it, Josh?
I call it a beautiful performance by Pedro Carvalho. He was able to fight through adversity. He came through when he needed to, and he made all those subtle changes that he talked about when we talked to him this week and I'm happy for him. I'm glad he's back on the winning track. Look, he's young, he's talented, he's got a bright future ahead of him. He just had to make some fixes, and he did that tonight. And Daniel Weichel, there's nothing to be ashamed about or upset about. He's a stud as well. We've known that for the longest time.
Indeed, and it has set the bar and the expectation for the Irish fans here in Dublin in the 3 Arena tonight for our co-main event. It sees the return of James the Strabanimal Gallagher, who is back here to fight in front of his hometown fans against Patchy No Love Mix. This one has been brewing for a long, long time. And as long as this fight has been brewing, Josh Thompson, so too has the bad blood. It's been more than tasty around the Fighter Hotel this week.
Yeah, it's been actually really exciting as well. So if you're someone that's just been rumbling around the hotel, you've noticed that they can't seem to pass each other without words being exchanged. And not only that, they ran into each other outside of a room, outside of the elevator. They have found ways to cross paths, and every single time it's been words all the way up to the weigh-ins. And now tonight, we're going to find out when all those words are settled up, who's actually going to get this fight done.
Yeah, JT has been doubling his bodyguard around the hotel this week. Now, as we look at the landscape of the marquee bantamweight division, as we see James Gallagher is ranked 6th, Mix is ranked in 3rd. How close, Josh, is the winner of this one to the title shot?
James is going to have to jump quite a bit. I think he's going to have a dominant performance. He's going to have to stamp his name all over Patchy Mix. And if he does that, there's a good chance, yeah, you see him potentially getting there. Patchy Mix, missing weight, it's going to be hard to offer him a title shot off of that, knowing that you've got to make the championship weight. You didn't even make the +1 weight. So that was the deal.
Well, it's a pleasure now to welcome in one of our female featherweights who is on the rise and on the climb in the rankings, Liam McCord. Welcome home, I guess I should say to you. Congratulations, we saw you in the Bellator cage just a few weeks ago in London, and you got that unanimous decision win against Jessica Borga. What impressed you most about your own performance that night?
I just think I was able to enjoy the performance and stay more composed. There's been a lot of outside the cage, there's lots of hype and media normally before my fights, and I just was able to take it in and relax and just kind of let loose in there.
Your performance that night, you really stuck on the feet. Normally we see you hit the ground quite a bit using your judo to get there into the dominant top positions, but you were snapping the jab, throwing the right hand, utilizing all the striking that you need, especially with your kicks, the long range kicks. Was that a lot of your game plan going into that fight?
Yeah, I just wanted to relax, and I wanted to be able to show I can strike as well as grapple.
Very comfortable performance. I met you at breakfast the next morning, and you said, you know, I've asked to be on the Dublin card. It hasn't worked out that way, but your good friend James Gallagher is about to make the biggest walk of his life. What impresses you most about James, and where and why is he just so deadly and dangerous in your mind?
Yeah, you know, I've trained James, and when he gets into his positions, his body lock positions, you know, his rear naked choke, his guillotine, it's the best in the world. He can get it on anybody, and I think Patchy may be open to some scrambles and might open up that position for James with jumping a rear naked choke or a guillotine.
So I look at the ways that he needs to win this fight. I look at him, he needs to kind of keep it on the feet. I'm okay with him going to the ground, but utilizing his speed on the feet, his long-range kicks, I think where he definitely has the advantage is the speed factor against Patchy Mix. Patchy Mix is someone who just walks you down and keeps his guard up high. James is someone that mixes it up very well, from the striking to the kicks, as well as the transition to the double leg takedowns, and then transition to the back. Like you said, when he gets that body lock, it's just flawless, and people have a hard time of getting out of there. If he continues to fight that way, do you see him walking away as the winner tonight, Leah?
Yeah, I think James needs to keep his range. He's really good at setting his range up, fighting where he wants to keep the fight. You know, I think Patchy might come in and try and pressure him, try and get it down to the ground. He's quite aggressive on top. I think James needs to stay cool, calm and collected tonight.
All right, more on his opponent Patchy Mix in a moment, but now let's hear from the star of the Jimmy Show, who's speaking with Jeanette Quachi.
James, you seem in really good spirits, really relaxed ahead of what could be a really big night for you.
100%. It's preparation meets failure. I've prepared. I am ready. And I've come here to do what I do.
You've been downstairs. You've had a look to see what that crowd is like, its capacity out there. How much are you going to take that in and use that to your advantage?
I'm going to walk out there, take a big deep breath, soak all that energy up into my stomach and put it all on him.
And for you, what are you going to do to make sure you stand out tonight in that cage?
Win.
Well, if he has a black belt in anything, it's mental warfare. All right, let's talk about his opponent, Patchy Mix. No love lost in this one. We've established that fact. But let's talk about the human backpack, as you like to call him. two submission specialists. Where does he have the advantage?
Well, it's hard for me to say that he has the advantage really a whole lot because they are very neutralized with each other on the ground. They both have very similar styles when it comes to the grappling aspect of that. And you can speak from that. But I think if it's going to be one thing, it's the size, which is why he missed weight. It's also the pressure. He brings that pressure. He uses that size to get you to the fence, and he utilizes double unders to get the takedowns and dominates the top position. And when people make a mistake, what happens? He gets right to the back. And when people overcommit, if James Gallagher overcommits on striking, he makes his transitions right to the back, and they're fluid transitions. And it's not just getting to the back. He goes right from the double unders, right to turning to the back, right to putting the hooks, right to the figure four, which is exactly kind of what James Gallagher does, right, Leah?
Yeah, I agree. I think Patchy is fantastic when he's wrestling out in the open, but I do think James has the advantage when it's against the cage. I can't see James overcommitting. I think he's going to be cool, calm, and calculated with the striking and keep it long. That's what he needs to do so he doesn't get into Patchy's game plan.
Do you take anything away that they have a common opponent in Ricky Benejas?
As we see right there.
With Ricky Benejas.
And we know that it ended very differently.
Patchy was able to finish him in the first round. James Gallagher struggled with him with the long-range striking. Do you take anything away from that? I looked at it as that James was still young.
Yeah. I don't like to comment on that. I think, every fight's different with styles make fights, and it definitely wasn't James's fight that night, but he's definitely progressed. Even talking to James Krause this week, his striking has been able to maintain the range and mix everything up a bit better. I think he'll be able to show that tonight.
And that is an important factor, perhaps an unknown. How has James Gallagher been training out in Glory MMA under James Krause? What improvements, what adjustments, perhaps, are we about to see? Well, it is time to find out. It is time for our co-main event here in Dublin. Between these two fighters, they have 25 professional wins. Liam McCord, by the way, I should say thank you for being with us. We look forward to seeing you back in the Bellator cage. In their 25 professional wins, 19 have come by submission. So let's see who prevails in this high-stakes matchup.
You can feel the buzz in the building. They are from different continents, but Patchy Mix and James Gallagher are the Spider-Man gift doppelgangers. Similar in age, similar in style, similar in swagger, and their rise to the top will likely be decided by who's better on the ground.
That is a painful maneuver. That is all over. Patchy.
James Gallagher, when I look at him, I think he's a master of nothing. They say he's a marquee name in the division. It's a complete mismatch. I'll walk him down and do what I do to everyone. I'll take his neck.
It's over with a first round rear naked choke.
I want part of the Jimmy Show next. James Gallagher, I want you next.
James, the Strapanimal Gallagher.
What's happening? Well, let's be honest, I have been known to be an absolute slabber over the microphone.
You're a fucking pussy and you're next. I'm absolutely bulletproof. I'm going to strangle you.
When people come to watch me fight, they know that they're in for a show.
I think the Jimmy Show is taking over, buddy.
The Strapanimal eats another opponent. Gallagher, the king of Dublin.
Yes! Next up for me is Patchy Mix.
And now, ready to make his way to the cage, Patchy Mix.
As the boos rain down, he is the very model of the modern major prodigy in MMA. A top high school wrestler who sought out MMA to become elite, who matriculated to Jackson Wink to become elite, who moved to Extreme Couture to become elite. I asked him the other day about a possibility of a bantamweight Grand Prix instead of a title fight. His answer was immediate. He said, I'm not here for the money, I'm here for the gold. His only loss, a close decision to then world champion Juan Archuleta. John, he is locked into getting a second chance. How does he get past James Gallagher?
Look, he gets past James Gallagher by being exactly who he is. Don't change anything because you are long, you're lanky, you've got great length. Pressure him in the stand-up game. Make him go onto his back foot. When you can get him to the ground, get on the ground, get in the top position, and take his neck.
11-0 as an amateur, 14-1 as a professional. Jacked to play the ultimate road game in Dublin tonight. He may have moved to the States. He may have left Coach John Kavanaugh.
And now the strong animal, James Gallagher.
Jimmy Show is on the air. And if this week wasn't enough, the boy we have watched grow into a man before our very eyes told us on Wednesday he is about to become a father. To pair that life-changing event with a world title, he'll have to beat Patchy tonight. John, how does he do it?
Look, very simply put, he's got to do what he does, be who he is. Don't be the guy that is trying to pressure this fight into a place that he doesn't belong. He needs to have positional awareness at all times, know exactly where Patchy's at and what he's doing. And if they get that scramble, you have got to be the one that comes out on top. Do not stop scrambling until you maintain the position that you want.
In here right now.
Teletape for this featherweight, bantamweight matchup. I'm getting all excited here. 11-1 for James Gallagher, 14-1 for Patchy Mix. The big thing was that weight miss. Patchy was off by over a pound and a half. That is a big problem, but James Gallagher says it will make no difference.
Co-main event time. Deep breath, everyone, to Michael C. Williams.
Bellator MMA now presents the co-main event of the evening. 3 5-minute rounds in the bantamweight division. And now live on Showtime, we introduce the blue corner. At 5'11", weighing in 137.8 pounds, the former world title challenger enters with a near-perfect professional record of 14-1, fighting out of Buffalo by way of Angola, New York, USA, Patchy Mix. And across the cage, his adversary tonight, fighting out of the red corner at 5'8", weighing in 136 pounds as a professional. He stands near perfect as well, bringing 11 professional victories, just 1 defeat, hailing from Strabane, Ireland, presenting James, the Strabane Gallagher.
James Gallagher fights almost always go the same way, but he's never been in there with someone the level of Patchy Mix.
No, this is by far the most skilled technician he's ever been in there with. We'll see how he handles Patchy Mix, but he's in on that. He's got a double leg right now, but he's leaving his neck open. He needs to be very careful about dropping it down. And you saw that he let go of it based upon that guillotine.
And he's got to defend the guillotine.
Patchy trying to get that hand inside. Smart, pushed down by James Gallagher. Now, he didn't get that slam that he wanted, but that was called fight IQ. Take care of the problem first, then put him in the position you want.
Not a lot of room to work. Both fighters search for the back.
And now he's reversed that on Patchy Mix. He thought about jumping guard. He did not do it. Patchy in this position can come up on his feet and bring him up.
A lot of stuff to keep in mind here. The fact that James Gallagher changed camps.
But what you're seeing from Patchy, you saw that leg inside, you saw how he stepped over the leg. That guillotine attempt is not going to work in that position.
What do you get? What do you get from a Krause in Kansas City as opposed to a Kavanaugh in Dublin?
Look, both guys are incredible coaches. And, you know, the funny part is, James Krause will tell you he believes that, you know, James Gallagher is like the ultimate catfish because he thought he was a bad guy. He's a great guy. All of his teammates love him, both in the U.S. and in Dublin. And he's got great skill and will listen and wants to learn. That makes him the perfect guy to train.
There was a time in this sport you wouldn't see two fighters in their mid-20s at this level of the ground.
But what you see is both guys have had those points where they've made very smart moves. And here you go with Patchy Mix. He's trying to suck the hips back on James Gallagher, get his back off of the cage, or take the back like he's reaching right here. And with that arm trap, that doesn't help James. James put his hand to the ground, put his knee to the ground, and start working his way up without giving his back. Nice job by Gallagher.
The other issue, obviously, Patchy Mix missed weight. Took a little shot in the exit there. And he was going to come in bigger anyway. And then he misses weight by nearly 2 pounds.
Well, you know, a lot of people forget that James Gallagher used to be a featherweight.
Yep.
He fought at 145, so I don't think the weight is that big of a factor. It was more of a, in Gallagher's mind, it's more of a respect thing. You didn't do what you were supposed to do, and I did.
Certainly opens up the discussion if Patchy Mix's future might be at 145. Looking more comfortable on the feet here. Remember, his stance is unusual because his background is a karate.
Yeah, many times you'll see him actually blade himself almost completely sideways, a la, you know, Stephen Thompson. But I'm seeing a different guy in the stand-up today.
It looks different
from his time with James Krause at Glory MMA. He's fighting the stand-up in a different fashion. Here he's starting to go back to that karate style a little bit.
There have been a lot of rounds tonight that have been very difficult to call. This is one of them.
Beautiful takedown attempt.
Gallagher shoots late.
Again, he's in a position, though, he needs to be careful with his neck. He's holding that arm, but you see, that's why Patchy Mix got him over, is it's tight, and it's a problem.
But he's out of time. And And the conversation between the two continues after 5 minutes.
Take a look at Gallagher. Jump from that right into a position where he was from being defensive to offensive. Wasn't able to do anything off of it. Didn't get any real strikes off of it. But a great job of positioning through it. There's a good right hand that he landed. He needs to up the amount of offense in the stand-up. That was the same shot we just watched. He needs to up that progression. That offensive output needs to start to intensify.
I'll ask you, if I'm forced to go 10-9 here, I'm leaning Patchy Mix in round 1, but by the small a margin as you can imagine.
Yeah, like we say, by the size of an ant's butt. I mean, it's just crazy how close that round was. But if you think about the attacks, Patchy had Gallagher in bad positions and more trouble than Gallagher had with Patchy.
Patchy Mix, the natural southpaw. This isn't a switch of a stance.
And that inside leg kick, Patchy needs to go to that. He needs to attack that front leg on James Gallagher as much as possible.
Yeah, that one hit the cup. A lot of the comments this week have been below the belt. Now a kick lands.
Well, the crowd can sit there and think that, you know what, that wasn't right. They should have stopped it. But that was as clean a shot to the cup as you're going to get. So it wasn't a whole lot of movement off of Patchy making that happen either.
Watch this.
That's a good shot from Gallagher.
That was. He ate one to give one.
He did.
But we've seen Patchy Mix get in these types of exchanges before, and he will bite down on that mouthpiece and fire back. You're looking at James, you're giving too much. You're telegraphing what you're going to do. No point to that. Nice counterattack by Patchy Mix.
Patchy Mix not moving as crisply as we normally see him.
No, he appears to me to be getting a little tired. James seems to have the more right now gas in the tank. James attacking the neck.
Looking for a guillotine.
This could, if it doesn't work, it could definitely make James's arms tired.
No doubt.
Get heavy.
It's risky. He loves the body lock. Can he get it? It's deeper than it looked. Now he's got the lock.
There's pressure there. Patchy pops out.
The entire arena sets back down.
He's got 3 minutes to work right here. That's a lot of time if he can keep him in this position.
That guillotine is a dangerous game, boy. If you don't get it. There was no reason to think the conversation that went on for the last couple of months, and especially this week, was not going to continue in these scrambles, and it certainly has.
Oh, it's continuing right now. They're talking to each other. But instead of talking, Gallagher needs to think about, I got to get up, and again, I need to push the pace on this. I have him where he is starting to get tired. Right now, he's actually gaining air.
Those shots don't mean much other than they are preventing Gallagher from doing anything.
Well, they're offensive where Gallagher is not. And so right now the judges are going, well, I've only got one guy being offensive, and that's what I get to grade the fight on. Gallagher trying to change the position. He's grabbing the cage. He's using his toes in the cage. You ain't cheating, you're not trying.
That's the job of the official, right? I mean, you got to do what you have to do in there, and if you get caught, you get caught. really speeding if nobody pulls me over.
Not if I don't look at the number on the dash.
This round started promising for James Gallagher.
James needs to put that foot on the hip, put his elbow to the floor first and get it to the hand to get himself up. He's got to make that move. He's got to try to explode. He can't just sit here and allow Patchy to steal the round.
Which is exactly what's happening.
Beautiful pass by Patchy right there. Beautiful pass.
He's doing all the work here.
He's got him close to a crucifix position.
Yeah, he can seatbelt that arm.
He's got that arm. He's got the right arm in position. Left, he's going to drop elbows on him.
Only 20 seconds, James.
Nice job of James to get out of that.
But you have to wonder if James Gallagher didn't just give another round away.
Here's the shot. That was a beautiful right hand right there. That landed cleanly on Patchy. You see him taking some backward steps to clear. He then decides, I'm going to drop, try to get in, and then it was the guillotine. And it was tight. It was on. But Patchy was smart enough to take and pop his head through because he held the hip position, knew exactly what kind of pressure was on there. This is a guy that's been grappling for a long time, knows where he's at. And then it was this beautiful pass right here. Look at him step over the legs, and that shoulder pressure is creating. Look how his head is trapped up against the cage, and then goes right into that crucifix position.
Well, the family of James Gallagher, we said he is expecting his first child, and well, that family lineage is pretty impressive.
Yes, he
Gracie, his fiance. And now, you saw that guillotine, John. How much of could James Gallagher's lack of offense in the final couple of minutes have come from him going so hard for that guillotine early in the round?
I will tell you that if you go for that, you're squeezing hard thinking you have it, and it doesn't happen. You blow your arms up, and it takes a while for that lactic acid to move out of your arms and you to feel like you could actually throw punches again.
You and Patchy mix up 2 rounds to none.
Right now, I've got Patchy up. I thought James was doing well, but Patchy took the round over because James just wasn't able to be offensive. Here goes Patchy.
Jumping for the guillotine.
This has been the guillotine.
See, James Gallagher.
He's rolling over. That is on.
That's trouble. It's done. And Patchy Mix has come to Dublin and done the impossible. Silence this crowd.
Let's take a look at this, and this is where we talk about, you see when he jumps, it's because he knows he has his hands in a position where he feels confident that it's gonna be tight. And once he wraps those legs, now he's extending Gallagher's body back, and you know that's trying to relieve pressure there. It goes all the way over. Now it is not a relief of pressure, it intensifies. That is a beautiful submission win by Patchy Mix.
John just said the battle of the guillotines. And when this is all said and done, and fight fans break all the video down of what just happened in front of us, I think we're going to be talking about Gallagher going for the guillotine and going for broke early in the second round. He never seemed to regain it after that. And then ironically, it's Patchy Mix finishing it with a guillotine early in round 3. A devastating defeat for James Gallagher coming back home to Ireland.
I know you got respect. I know, you know, great coach. I know.
The great ones have to get it done on the road. Patchy Mix just did. Michael C. Williams will tell you how.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes 39 seconds into round number 3. The tap by way of a guillotine for the winner by submission, Patchy. No Mix.
All respect.
It was the Patchy show tonight in Dublin. Patchy Mix, the biggest win of his career. He's with John McCarthy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with Patchy Mix, the winner of a great battle and a battle of the guillotine attacks. You guys went back and forth trying to search for that guillotine. Talk to me about why you jumped guard at the end. You had to know that you had your hands in place to make that work.
I knew he had to get a takedown in the last round. Because I controlled the second, so when I got the guillotine, I just jumped. I normally get it before that, but, you know, much respect to him. Second round, he had me in a tight guillotine himself. This crowd surprised me. There's nothing like this. I underplayed it, man, but this crowd it's crazy. It's like it's a movie in here right now.
How much energy do you think the crowd gave someone like James Gallagher, and did you draw energy from that as they were trying to cheer their man on?
I thought I drew energy, but, you know, I don't know. It's something different. I was nervous. I came out flat in that first round. I didn't expect it to be like this. Like I said, it's like a movie, so, you know, all respect to James. You know, we sold this fight. You know, all this banter and stuff. It just shattered to get all these fans here, so we sold it. You know, I don't know the guy. I don't even dislike him, you know. I got a lot of respect for his coaches. And I know I came 1.5 pounds overweight, so just want to control that next time and just build off this momentum, you know.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was a hell of a win, a beautiful victory. Patchy Mix, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you to Bellator, everyone else, my manager, Ali, my family, my teammates, my coaches, everyone back home. If it weren't for you, you know I wouldn't be here. It was my mom's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. I love you.
Patchy Mix continues to rise, and, well, Mom, happy birthday indeed. You get the biggest win of your son's career. Guys, we talked about this fight for weeks leading up to it, and you just almost started to talk yourself into James Gallagher, but we saw all the things that make Patchy Mix so hard to beat.
Indeed, Sean, and perhaps one of the things maybe we didn't talk enough about, Josh, was the size and the strength and the factor that ultimately ended up playing in that fight.
Yeah, I thought that played a major factor. And I know 1.5 pounds doesn't sound like a lot, but I want people to remember that it's also the plus pound that you get. You get the plus 1 pound, so we actually missed it by 2.5. And that extra 2 pounds, and people can talk about it all they want, is that extra 2 pounds is the suffering that you got to go through in the sauna or the salt bath or whatever it is. Those are the things that suck and draw you out of it. And you saw Patchy getting tired at the end of the first and into the second when they were on their feet. I don't know if that would have made a difference or not, but look, I'm not trying to take away from his performance. He weathered the storm. He got through it. He fought a great fight. But you always in the back of your head now are going to have that in your mind. Does that 1.5 pounds or 2.5 pounds really make a difference?
Yeah, perhaps, as Sean mentioned, maybe a move to 145. Maybe he'll stick around in the bantamweight division, and maybe we will have that tournament in the New Year's. Well, New Year, I should say. Well, can you believe we still have our main event to come, and it is a world title fight. It's history-making tonight. Peter Queally and Patricky Pitbull, well, they clashed and they bashed in May, Josh. Now, given how good a contest it was, given how it ended, whether there's a belt on the line or not, we needed to see this one again.
We had to see it again because this fight should have never ended. It was a cut in the hairline, and we've had that across the board in this sport since the beginning of this sport. And so this really will be a continuation of that first fight, and deservedly so. This fight was shaping up to be a great fight. Both of them have started to find their groove, and I'm looking forward to carrying this fight over into this fight. And this time, no, it's 5 rounds. So we get to see that extra third, that fourth, and that fifth round. Those are called championship rounds. Just want to let you know that just in case you didn't know. But 4th and 5th rounds are those championship rounds, and they're going to have to earn it tonight. Both of them are going to have to earn it tonight.
Sorry, I was just looking for a $1 bill to pay you a tip for that. Thank you very much, Josh Thompson. Well, it is, the stakes are higher because, of course, the vacant lightweight title is on the line, and it's in no small part to the younger brother of Patricky Pitbull. That is the 2-time 2-weight champion, Patricio, who's standing by with Jeanette.
Patricio, a really big night here in Dublin. How ready do you feel to support your brother here?
That's amazing thing is happening here in Dublin. I believe my brother is going to take this belt and bring to Brazil.
And for you, to be able to give your brother the opportunity to fight for this belt, how important was that for you?
He was already the #1 contender, and everyone knows I'm not gonna fight him. And that was our opportunity to bring him to fight for the title against Queally.
And for you to be able to see that tonight, the rematch, we know, you know that he has to do things differently. What will he have to do?
My brother is gonna knock him out. I know that. He's gonna finish this fight very, very, very in the first round.
First round knockout?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, we saw just how emotional Patchy was, Aidan, when it came down to knowing that he could fight for this title.
You bet. Thank you very much, Jeanette. And it's a pleasure to have Patricio in the building tonight. He predicts a first-round KO. Perhaps we will see. But when we spoke to Pattricky during the week, we saw that emotion of just how important it is to these guys as a family, as siblings, to keep the belt in the family.
They're extremely close. And like we talked about earlier, Pattricky actually went up to 55 because his brother was at 45 earlier in their careers when they first came to Bellator. And so that says a lot just right there. And then also, after Pattricky had lost to Michael Chandler, Patricio comes in and goes up to 55 and starches Michael Chandler. And that right there just let everyone know, that Pattricky is ready for this in terms of it's his time. And when his time came against Queally the first time, he was touching him and doing all the things that he needed to do. What I mean by that is he needed to keep the distance, throw the leg kicks. He wants to slow Peter Queally down so he's no longer a moving target. He's someone who is right in front of him and make it easier to get that knockout. And those leg kicks will play dividends, especially in a 5-round fight. So if he's able to touch him early in this fight, the calf kick, the body kick, all of those things, I think that knockout could potentially be there. Maybe not in the first round, but what does it matter? Get the knockout, win the title, go home happy.
Well, we know Peter Queally has never been stopped in his professional career. We know also he's been the training partner of Conor McGregor for many a time, but now is his time to shine. And as he told us this week as well, Josh, he's done it the hard way. He has gone to some crazy places and took some crazy fights to earn this shot tonight.
Yeah, he's taking a lot of crazy fights. His fight with Ryan Scope, which I called here, was one of the most exciting fights I had ever seen. And then to see like his mobility and his movement in that fight, in that first round, was key. But he came out and took a huge shot in the second round. And then when he was able to get back to his feet, he was able to start putting it on Ryan Scope. And Ryan Scope just gassed out. He was touching Ryan Scope with everything. Ryan Scope hit the ground, and he was able to just jump on him, barrage him, and get him out of there. Now look, stylistically, that's a different fight when he fights Pattricky. He's got to make sure he keeps his movement, and he's touching Pattricky. Use those long-range body kicks. Also, off those long-range body kicks, he's got to make sure when he throws the kick that he follows up with hands right away. And if he does that, that will start to fluster and frustrate Pattricky, which will open up other shots. And that's what you have to do with the Pitbull brothers. You got to try to get them to make a mistake in terms of chase after you. And if you can do that, that leaves them open for chances to be countered.
All right, we are ready for this. It's historic in Dublin tonight. It is our main event for the vacant Bellator MMA lightweight title. Will it be solid Bellator gold for SBG's Peter Queally, or will Pitbull stop the showstopper and keep the belt in the family?
And why, as you guys said, has been Pattricky, who's been so emotional? Because he hasn't just been the older brother. He's been the bridesmaid again and again. He reached the finals of the lightweight tournament in 2011 and lost. Again in 2014 and lost. The finals of the Rising Grand Prix and lost. 5 years ago, he finally got his one and only shot at the world title. At Bellator 157, Michael Chandler and Pattricky Pitbull faced off for the vacant lightweight world championship. Chandler, and it's over. Enter little brother and featherweight top dog, Patricio Pitbull.
Man, now it's Patricio and Michael Chandler going at it.
That stunning knockout and its aftermath set up a super fight with Chandler and Pitbull, who was intent on settling the score.
People can stop me. Get to the fight. Why are they? Just get to the fight. Why are you nervous?
At Bellator 221, Pitbull did just that.
Chandler gets whacked by Patricio Pitbull. You talk about unpredictable. The referee is intervened, and Patricio Pitbull makes Bellator history.
With the possibility of having to face his brother in defense of his 155-pound championship, Patricio Pitbull vacated the title, thereby making tonight's rematch a battle for the lightweight world championship.
I'm happy for my brother, give me this opportunity for fight for the title. So, just happy.
The first fight between Queally and Pitbull, an entertaining back-and-forth affair.
Nothing but air in there. Patricky Pitbull secures the takedown.
Ended in the second round with a doctor's stoppage.
I think he could have continued, and I think he should have been let continue, to be honest.
A lot of blood, but everyone can fight after one cut. Doesn't matter.
I would have been upset if I got stopped with a cut, no matter how bad it was. However, this was not going to change the outcome. I was already 2 rounds up, and now he had a hole the size of a 50-pence piece in his forehead. So I was not going to lose that 3rd round.
Everyone knows. I beat him, his leg, his face, his body. I take him down. If I broke his elbows, he does nothing. I will beat him, make my words.
Fighting for the belt in front of his country, his family, his friends, motivates Queally more than ever.
It's a dream come true to be fighting for a world title in Dublin. In my hometown, in my home country, in front of my own fans, and in the spectacle that the Three Arena brings.
It's great. It's awesome. I love this. Similar like Brazil. I love beat my opponents in his country. Every time I fought in another country, USA all time. So it's normal for me.
He thinks he's prepared for the atmosphere, but I don't think you can prepare. I wasn't even prepared the first time I fought in this atmosphere. It was still kind of mind-blowing at the time.
And once that cage door closes, both men are confident that this is their time to shine.
I'm born to fight. I trained my whole life for this. This is my time. This is my moment.
I'm prepared for absolute war. And if he doesn't have the same mentality, he's going to lose. It's going to be a horrific 25 minutes for both of us. And we'll probably both be in the hospital afterwards. But I'll have my hand raised, and that suits me fine.
Can prepare for everything there is in the fight game. Patchy Pitbull, no one can be prepared for the environment he is about to walk into.
You can't begin to understand modern-day Ireland without trying to understand the troubles. The three-decade political battle over whether Northern Ireland would leave the United Kingdom and join a united Ireland. Thousands were killed, half of them civilians. Two of the last were children, killed when leaving their home to buy a Mother's Day card, killed by a bomb detonated in a trash can. Dolores O'Riordan, the late singer of the Cranberries, wrote a song for them, Zombie. It became an anthem for a new generation of Irish, and no better one with which to serenade their heroes.
Gentlemen, the showstopper, behold, Queally.
Song is an anthem for a new generation, one represented here not by cowards who bomb innocent children in the street, but by warriors like Peter Queally, who fight with respect and for respect for themselves, their country, and tonight for a world title. John, how does he make that dream come true?
Look, Peter Queally just needs to come out and be who he is. He is a zombie unto himself because he's so tough to get rid of. Angles and footwork are what he needs to do to attack Patchy. That is where he can gain his advantage, a volume attack. You want to just keep on touching him. Don't try for the knockout. You don't have that same power. But drag him into the later rounds. Drag him into the deep waters. And when you get in there, you drown him.
Fights from a tricky Pitbull. The 20th for Peter Queally. Tonight, one will become world champion.
Our talented for this lightweight world championship fight. A 74.5-inch reach to 71. Queally needs to keep him on the outside. Pitbull has to get on the inside to unleash that power.
It is main event time. It is lightweight world title time. In an extraordinary atmosphere, it's Michael C. Williams time.
Ladies and gentlemen, from 3 Arena here in Dublin. The time has come for tonight's main event. 5 rounds to the record. Bellator World Championship. Sanctioned by the Leading Track Department. Regulation Chairman James Gessler. Supervising Producer Mike Mazzulli. And now, first introducing the blue corner. 5'7", weighing in at 153 across the cage, his adversary. Out of the red corner at 5'10", weighing in 155 pounds, with a chance to make history and become the first Irish Bellator World Champion. He stands with 13 professional victories, 5 losses, 1 draw, fighting out of Dublin, Ireland, presenting Peter, the Showstopper, Queally. When the bell rings, your referee in charge, Kevin McDonald.
Gentlemen, these 5 rounds under the unified rules. We know those rules in the back on a good fight. If you like, touch gloves now.
The prize. The Warriors.
Ready to fight? Ready to fight? Let's go!
And it's on.
Pitbull needs to get back to that kick that he was landing so well again on the leg of Peter Queally. You see Queally already starting to take, and he's looking for that tie check, knowing that it's coming, but he's got to go back to it because he was very effective with it in the first fight.
Overhand right by Patchy. Leg kicks really did a lot of damage. Peter Queally talked about that. One of the many beautiful things about this main event and this title fight tonight is in a sport in which we all get carried away with the histrionics and I hate this guy and I hate that guy. There is nothing but respect between these two, between the Pitbull brothers. Even Patricio's reaction, you saw Peter Queally after the first fight say, we'll watch it together. And later that night, Patricio went up to him and said, you know what, those weren't illegal elbows.
Absolutely, that was what you saw from Patchy right there. Queally has such a high guard. He needs to start going to the body. He landed a very nice, clean right hand to the body, and he needs to go back to that attack that you just saw as often as he can.
The judges did see the first fight going Queally's way. They were very, very close rounds.
You know, they were close rounds, but if you're taking a look at the damaging shots overall, yes, Patchy had a head cut, but it was due to an elbow. It was a good elbow, but it wasn't those kind of elbows that were going to knock you out. It caused the cut. But when you looked at all the leg kicks and all of the things that Patchy was landing, I actually had Patchy up, but Queally was coming on. And so the question remains, who was going to actually win that fight if it wasn't stopped? Patchy doing a great job of going to the body again.
Just trying to lower that guard ever so much.
Well, the one thing about Peter Queally is, look, he has never been stopped in a fight. He is tough, he's durable, and when he comes out to zombie, I don't like to say he's a zombie as far as a person, but as a fighter, he's one of those guys you got to take his head off to actually stop him.
We talked about the body shots. We've been talking about it for a couple of weeks. You talked about it during the first fight, and look at the damage they've already done.
You can see the redness, but you can also see Peter has landed a very good right hand on Patchy. Patchy believes that he hurt Peter in that exchange, but take a look at the left side of Patrycky's face. It's looking red also, so there's some shots being landed.
Peter Queally very open about the damage the leg kicks did, and very open about the fact that he thinks that Patrycky's going to come out and he just has to get through this first round. And the longer the fight goes,
He's more and more comfortable.
Well, I believe he's right in the fact that, you know, looking at the history of both guys, he's the guy as the fight goes into later rounds. He's the one that gets stronger while Patchy starts to slow down his progression. His offense becomes less and less because he does get tired. He's a fast twitch, muscle fiber type athlete. That's why he's got that power.
No experience in the 5-round fights. That title fight with Michael Chandler ended in the first round.
Now, that fight against Chandler was something that, look, someone was going to go to sleep. It just happened that Michael landed that shot first. Well placed, great win. But Queally needs to just keep making Pitbull work. And the more that he can walk him down and push him backwards, don't let Pitbull come forward. If you can start to push him backwards, you know you're starting to affect him in the fight.
That Chandler fight was in St. Louis, fought David Rickles in Kansas, but there is no road game like this road game tonight. Combination.
Very nice ending shot with the right hand to the body. Pitbull needs to stop bringing the shots as far as looping shots to the outside and start throwing those looping shots to the body and straight shots down the middle.
Through one.
Take a look at Queally here. Beautiful jab straight down the pipe, and that's what Peter Queally will do. He doesn't throw a ton of looping shots. He likes to come straight shots down the middle, and they get there faster. Again, nice leg kick. That's going to pay dividends and have effects as this fight goes on. But Pitbull actually came on and started landing these body shots, coming up a little bit too high on that second one, but the body shots were the difference in the round. Pitbull landed some very clean body shots throughout this round. Queally landed some good shots. Overall, Pitbull landed the ones with more power. I would give him that round.
And when we saw the difference of the first fight, Peter Queally already defending Pattricky's leg kicks that we saw all throughout the first fight.
Absolutely defending him from the start. You saw him bringing that leg up, looking for the check.
Patricio has always used those effectively, the heavy leg kicks, whereas Patricky's knockouts have been explosive. They've been one-punch knockouts. You were in the cage for the Ryan Couture one, which was one of the scariest ones you've ever seen.
Almost took his head off with that shot. He's got that type of power. Just what you just saw right there. He can explode at any moment, but he needs to be in a position to conserve that for the right moment. And this is the right thing by Peter Queally. Start to back him up. If you see Queally backing Pitbull up.
I hope. Remember, there was a low blow early in round one of the first fight.
Stay right here for one moment, okay?
Came during the feeling out process. Right there.
Patricky needs to just take his time here. Don't hurry himself back into the fight. Clear his eye out. Take the time that it needs so he can get his vision back, because you have to be able to see to be able to fight well.
How are you feeling?
We've seen fights ended this way. You see the concerned expression on Peter Queally's face.
Do you feel like it's going to clear?
It's a pretty good rake at that left eye.
I could have the doctor come in. Yes? Okay, stay right there for me.
What Kevin McDonald is telling me, I'm going to try to give you time. You think if I give you time, your eye's going to clear out? And Patricky was saying, yeah, he was starting to see two images, but he's starting to clear up. Just give him some time, and that's what Kevin McDonald is doing.
Doctor, right behind you.
You can take a look. It's always the defensive action that tends to become that eye poke situation. A guy has someone coming in to attack him. They extend the arm to keep that range. And
that's what it is. It happens. Just chill out, man.
Patricky is trying to explain to the doctor what he is seeing or not seeing out of that eye. What are the options here, John? What's the checklist?
Well, the big thing is there's not so much time that you can just stay forever. You've got a 5-minute period right now, and he's got to get this fight going within that 5-minute period, which he's doing. So that it can continue. If it went past the 5-minute period, fight is over. There's nothing you can do. So right now the doctor has said that he can compete. That means that Kevin McDonald's going to get that door closed. Well, he's bringing it back just to take the moisture off of his face and from his eye. And we're going to get this fight going again.
You can see the redness.
Nice job by Kevin McDonald to give him time. I like when you see a referee give the fighter all the time that they can take so they can really clear that vision out.
The stakes are too high.
Queally being very effective with his low leg kick. You see that thigh of Pitbull is starting to really start to swell up. It's got a lot of markings on it.
That's his lead side. There's the leg kick. We're almost reminding Queally to get it up in a check position. A big shot by Patricky Pitbull. Peter Queally down. He's in some trouble. He's in deep trouble. He's got to move. Patricky Pitbull. That's 11 years in the Bellator cage. And he has brought the Pitbull brothers back to the top of the mountain.
That was a clean right hand that hurt Peter Queally. You can see he is on just wobbly legs. He can't get himself under control. Pitbull is just attacking, going after him. And right here, when he's just starting to crank off with right hands and there's no movement and no exchange, referee Kevin McDonald stops the fight. Queally was in real trouble. When you see someone falling down like that, trying to move, trying to get themselves up, and cannot, now no response, that's a good stoppage. That's a big win, and we have a new lightweight champion in Pitbull by the name of Patricky.
You talk about the deck stacked against you and earning your first world title. He comes to Dublin to fight Peter Queally, and he stops a man who has never been stopped. That's how you do it in style.
That's how you win that time.
Now we make history. The only two brothers who became world champion. Let's go!
The difficult childhood in the tall. They fought for each other as kids. They fought with each other as kids. And 7 years after his younger brother became the world champion, Patricky Pitbull is finally on top. You don't need hatred or bad blood to make magic moments in this sport. Sometimes respect is all you need. We knew the night would end with the words "and knew." Patricky Pitbull's dream has come true. Michael C. Williams will make it so.
Ladies and gentlemen, inside the Bellator cage, it comes to an end. 1 minute, 5 seconds into round number 2. The winner by knockout, and now the new Bellator lightweight world champion, the Brazil, Patricky Pitbull.
He has worked a lifetime to be lifted those final 6 feet. The new world champion at long last is with John McCarthy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with the new lightweight champion, Patricky Pitbull. Patricky, That was a very technical fight. From the start, you can see that Peter Queally had picked up on your leg kicks, and he was looking to check, and you started going to the body based upon the high guard.
Ele pegou os teus chutes e você aí começou a acertar o corpo dele.
I do the exactly strategy my team do, because he think I will kick his leg again. So I just work my box to. He think I will kick him. I can kick it anytime, but he think just about the kick. So I go to my hand, my power, stay calm. Everybody told me, just calm, relax, enjoy the fight. Take this great opportunity for fighting in Ireland in this beautiful country. So I stay here for enjoy the place, enjoy the Guinness, the great Guinness. Yeah, let's go! Let's go! I love it. So the history about the Weichels is great. So I wanna look for some museums and churches. E eu quero agradecer a galera do Brasil aí, ó. Eu prometi o nocaute. Obrigado a todos os brasileiros que vieram aqui.
Let me ask you this. That was one of the most incredible walkouts that your opponent had. You had this entire crowd going crazy for their countrymen. What was it like for you standing in here, watching that, listening to it? How much pressure did it put on you?
It's normal for me. I fought for 10 years in different places. Japan, Canada, USA, doesn't matter. I'm the warrior. I'm Brazilian. I really kill Brazilian. I'm the king of chaos. And now I am the champ. I want to thank my brother for giving me the opportunity for the fight. So now I am the champion and the king. Let's go.
I want to tell you, congratulations on being the new lightweight Bellator champion. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the Pitbull, Patchy.
A moment he worked a lifetime for, and a memory that will last a lifetime. Guys, everything about this night was spectacular, including the finish. It was going to be a great story no matter which way it went, but Patricky Pitbull did it the way you need to do it. He left no doubt.
Sensational, devastating performance by Patricky Pitbull here in Dublin tonight. We know he's done it in Kansas, he's done it in New Jersey, he's gone to San Jose to beat opponents in their home yard, but he's done it the best and the biggest place of all for the biggest prize, Dublin, for the lightweight title. He said, Josh, coming into tonight, he was the king without the crown. No longer is that the case.
You had to bring up San Jose, didn't you? I had to rub it in.
I said no names.
Look, him and his brother have been the pillars, along with Douglas Lima, of this organization. And to see him finally get his dream come true tonight, it was spectacular. It was one of those situations, I think, as a fighter, that you want to see him win. It's because you know he's helped keep this promotion going. Him and his brother both. They have both carried this promotion on their back from the beginning, and now it's grown to be so big. We're finally happy for him to see that happen. But when one man's dreams are lived, another man's dreams are crushed. I felt really bad for Peter Queally, but it was an absolutely amazing performance. He was able to touch Peter Queally with the right hand that rocked him. But when we talked to Peter Queally this week, he said, I felt the power. I wasn't concerned with the power. Well, that's how the power works, though. It sneaks up on you. It's the punch you don't see that gets you. And I don't know if he took it for granted a little bit from the first fight. But in this situation, he was able to get caught. Patricky came out there and finished it. And he's one of those guys, when he's got you hurt, he's a finisher.
Final word from you, Josh, for now. You've been there, you've done it. What is it like to be the lightweight world champion?
I think for right now, for him, it hasn't settled in yet. And it won't settle in probably until tomorrow morning when he's actually just there with the belt. And maybe his wife and his kids and his brother, and they're just sitting around having breakfast, and he's thinking to himself, all my dreams have come true. I finally did exactly what my brother did. And I finally am very gifted and blessed to be a world champion. He's up on that wall now that every fighter dreams of being on. And that's something no one can ever take away from him. And I'm happy to see it happen. I fought him. He's a great person. We became very close friends after we fought. He's come to my gyms. Him and his brother both. I've trained with them. They are phenomenal people. They're a phenomenal family. And I'm super happy for them.
The Pitbull brothers' legacy continues, and I think Josh is buying the Guinness tonight. Well, Bellator Nation, if you missed any of tonight's portion of the card, do not worry, we have you covered on Showtime. You can check your listings for encore plays of Bellator MMA on Showtime Extreme. And we will be back in 1 week's time, Friday, November 12th. Featherweight champion and female phenom Chris Cyborg defends her title against Irish boxing sensation Sinead Kavanagh. That's coming your way next Friday at 10, 9 Central, only on Showtime. And up next for you tonight, get an extended look behind tomorrow's historic Showtime pay-per-view. It's All Access Canelo versus Plant. Keep it right here on Showtime. Well, from me, Aidan Power, and Josh Thompson on the fight desk here in Dublin, let's throw it back down one final time to Sean Grundy.
All right, guys, we promised you an unforgettable night. It really couldn't have ended any other way. Inside the 3 Arena, it began with Ilias Bulaid, top-level prospect, very high-level kickboxer, taking some lessons learning on his way to a split decision win. Then an absolute battle between the veteran Daniel Weichel trying to hold his place at 145, but Pedro Carvalho turned the fight around midway through the second and won a contentious split decision. The grudge match between James Gallagher and Patchy Mix, the biggest test for both in their young careers. James Gallagher had his chances early in the second, but in the battle of the guillotines, Gallagher couldn't hold on. Patchy Mix did and silenced the crowd here at 3 Arena. And then all eyes turned to the main event as Peter Queally in an unforgettable walk to the cage to try to fight for a world title. But it was Pattricky Pitbull's night, and in the second round, he ended it. For Aidan, Josh, Jeanette, and Big John, I'm Sean Grundy. The Pitbull Championship Dynasty